Welcome to the Growth Lab, a trusted space for parents navigating their child's developmental journey. I'm Luba Patlakh, a speech-language pathologist, myofunction therapist, child and family advocate, and mama of 3. And for the last 15 years, I've worked with more than 150,000 children and their families, helping parents understand what they're seeing, what it means, and how to move forward with confidence. This podcast is for parents who want clear, credible guidance when information feels overwhelming or decisions feel heavy. Here, we break down speech, feeding, breathing, learning differences, attention, IEPs, and more in practical, easy to understand ways along trusted experts. My goal is simple, and it's to help you feel informed, supported, and confident as you advocate for your child. You're in the right place, so let's begin. Today on the Growth Lab, I'm joined by the beautiful Stephanie Feero. She's a pediatric speech-language pathologist who's turned product creator, and she is proving that joy is not optional in therapy. It's strategic. Stephanie is the founder of Chomper Champs, a speech therapy companion tool that has taken over therapy rooms by turning articulation, feeding, and language goals into something kids genuinely look forward to. What I love about her work is that it sits in the intersection of clinical skills, creativity, and sustainability. It's low prep, easy cleanup, and are great tools that actually support progress and clinical sanity. And God knows we all need that. Today, we're talking about how play builds trust, how clinicians can step into entrepreneurship without losing their soul, and why fun might be the most underutilized tool in pediatric therapy. Stephanie, welcome to the Growth Lab.
Thank you, Luba, for such a lovely introduction. I appreciate it.
I feel like it's been a long time coming. Like, I wanted to chat with you for some time, you know?
I know. It got crazy because I think you reached out in the fall, and then I did an ASHA booth in Washington, D.C., which is literally as far away as we could, from Washington State all the way to D.C.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you were cross country there, girl. That's cool.
Yeah, it was a little stressful, and then getting into the holidays, and it's just been crazy. So I'm glad we're able to finally connect.
No, for sure. Well, I'm thrilled to learn more about you. Why don't we start a bit about who you are, when and why you became a speech pathologist?
Yeah, so I am in my 9th year of being an SLP. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually terrifying how quick time passes. How long have you been an SLP, Luba?
I've been in the field for 18 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, you've been around the block.
And I've owned kidology, my bread and butter, for in May it'll be 11 years.
Wow. You know, being around other entrepreneurs who are like in it, because I'm still very fresh with Chomper Champs. I'm in my 3rd year of business, and just like hearing from other entrepreneurs that it's like, nope, they're down the road. I get so much out of that. But back to your question, I had kind of a bumpy road to becoming an SLP. I didn't really have a clear direction. But for my foreign language I was doing a dual enrollment high school, college course. And for my foreign language, I just enrolled in sign language. I was like, that sounds kind of fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I didn't think you had that choice.
I loved it. Just fell in love with the language itself, the community, the deaf community that it exposed me to. And then I worked at a summer camp as a counselor, and one of my fellow staff members and very dear friend through my teenage years, he was deaf. And so I was one of the only people at summer camp who could communicate with him conversationally. And it just kind of like grew this interest in communication disorders and helping make communication accessible to anybody despite what their mode of communication is. And so I enrolled in undergrad, and I was very young because I had done that dual enrollment. I mean, I think I was 18 going in as a junior, and everything always came very natural to me of being a student. You know, I graduated I graduated high school with my associate's degree. And so going into this real college setting in undergrad was it was more challenging than I thought it would be. I was just young. And so I applied to grad schools. I applied to 4, didn't get in anywhere. And then
that's such a bummer. They didn't know what they were missing.
You know what? It was so disappointing. One, I was applying to schools I had no business applying to. I was like,
Okay.
oh, Austin
Okay.
sounds fun. Moving to Austin or Boulder. And those are some of the top ranked. Like, I wouldn't even compete with, those high level academic gals who were getting into those schools, I'm sure. But I took 2 years off, applied to a ton of grad schools all over the country, got into one off of a wait list, and moved to Texas and did grad school there, and that kind of started my true speech pathology journey of figuring out what all of this, like what this whole thing is about. So I feel passionate about our field. I absolutely love SLPs as people, and the clients I've worked with over my career. I feel like they've changed my life more than I've changed theirs, I'm sure.
And it takes a special person for sure. And I think God was guiding your path the whole time because, listen, I also went to college and I also had to pick a language and I didn't choose sign. I didn't even know it was an option. So there was an angel that sent that your way so that you could become, and that's such a beautiful thing. Wow. I love this backstory. Where are you sitting right now? Because I see those chomper heads back there. I'm just curious.
Yes.
Tell us where you are.
Yes, I'm not gonna show you too much because my workshop is always a disaster. I'm very type B, but I'm in my workshop, which is a room in my house. Chomper Champs has grown to take over about 2 rooms in my house because I manufacture all of my products myself with 3D printing. So in my basement, I have a little. Cool. It's insane. We'll talk more about it, I'm sure. But I'm in my home office where I work on Chomper Champs about half my day, and then I also do consulting as well in the mornings. So I can work in front of my window at my computer, and then in the afternoon, I'm on this side of my room,
That's
packing
amazing.
Orders and everything.
Are you doing any in-person therapies or digital therapies right now, or you're just working on the product and releasing the product and consulting on services with the product?
So I don't have a caseload anymore. I had my last client about 18 months ago. I had been working in a clinic setting that I loved. I was there for 4 years. And actually my employer at that clinic was the one, he gifted me my first 3D printer and has been so supportive of Chomper Champs. And I still will text him. He's an engineer mind. He's so supportive in my journey. And I decided to leave because I wanted more flexibility to, focus on Chomper Champs. So I ended up leaving that clinic in 2024 and became a consultant for a tech company who develops speech language pathology resources. And so I work with them in the mornings. And then in the afternoons, like I said, I'm able to have the flexibility to be home, change my 3D printers, process all the orders that are coming in, and just kind of juggle my duties throughout the day. But I am at a place I miss the kids. I have deeply thought about returning to taking on a small caseload, but I'm definitely
instead of taking on a caseload, you should link up, and I can, market brain with you a little later, but you should link up with the local schools, daycares as a speech path to do events at their school with your product. And then you'll get the kids, the fix.
Yes.
And then you'll be off to the next place,
Yeah, no, that's actually a great idea, because the idea of I just had a friend call me yesterday who has a private practice. She had a reading therapy kid, which I love reading, and that's not her strength. She's like, would you be interested in helping them? And I'm like, I just can't commit to seeing a kid 2 or 3 times a week right now consistently until some things give.
I know the feeling. Everybody, you want to service everybody because it's in us to be like, I'll help you. And back in the day when I was like maybe 4 years into the business, I used to do this all the time. I would be like, I'll take 5 kids. And then 5 would turn into 7, and 7 was 12. And then I'm like, guys, I can't take any more kids. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm burnt out. I can't be the director and at that 4 years in, I'm building a business. I know exactly how you feel. So I'm sure a lot of people out there can attest to this feeling, because inside we are speechies and we want to give back and we have the heart, but we're also building businesses. So it's tricky. I want to ask you, your brand is loud, it's colorful, it's joyful, and it's unmistakably you, obviously. When did you realize that fun wasn't a distraction from progress, but actually the driver of it? Like, why this?
So I graduated grad school in 2017 is when I became a CF. And at that time, the movement for neurodivergent affirming therapies, I had not heard that word at all through grad school. A lot of my experiences had been like, oh, the kid comes in, we sit at the table, like it's structured, we're doing work. And that just didn't work for so much of my caseload, like neurodiverse students or not. It was just, I felt like I was struggling in these almost like power battles with the kids.
Yes.
You come in that, they're not engaged. They're not sitting down doing a worksheet. And, I would get creative. We would play games, obviously. We would, have some floor time. But when I made that shift, I had done some really fantastic continuing education courses that I had pieced together from different CEU providers. And when I started making that shift of like, a good therapist can just target any goal with almost any material. Like really, we can be adaptable and we can meet children where they're at. My job started to become so much easier. I was getting such better outcomes with my students. Mm-hmm. They loved coming to speech. And it really was just that like actual, we know that research says that like play-based interventions have better long-term outcomes because it's all naturally embedded to what the child is interested in. And once I started doing it, it just clicked of like, why am I making my job harder trying to maintain this structured approach to therapy? And it really influenced my like joy for just play and silliness, which I think at the core of all of that just comes connection. Like I want to be an influence on these kids, not just their speech therapist, but a safe, fun, especially I've worked in a lot of places where my students come from a low socioeconomic status background. Both parents are working, some kids with some really tough backgrounds. And I think the speech room should be a place for progress, but also fun and safety. And
I always say that consistency, fun, and progress, literally, and safety. Those are, oh my gosh, that's like I might make a post about that. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, do it.
And I think you're very creative, and somebody gifting you a 3D printer. Like, I'm going to share this story with my kids because my son has one, and maybe it's not as high tech as yours, but he loves to utilize it and, give gifts to people or make something special, a 3D picture or something unique. And hey, like, you've turned this into something so much bigger utilizing similar tools. So it's quite inspiring, I will say. So back to that, a lot of SLPs feel creative, but they don't act on their creativity because they're in the day-to-day. We're creative beings and we can come up with stuff and we can have fun. Yes. But what gave you the confidence to turn your idea from your therapy room into a real product and then business?
I joke all the time, delusion, like truly. You have to be like, when you're an entrepreneur in general, you have like something going on in your brain of like, when you're full steam ahead. I think back on that and I'm like, how did I get from where I started? My husband was actually home on lunch today and I just launched a subscription box for Chomper Champs accessories. And so they're shipping tomorrow. So I've got a lot of work to do in shipping all these things. And he was like, do you remember when you were in here and you had that one old janky 3D printer and you had like one order a week? And I think that
he's so humbling. I like him.
I know he is. I think that it just takes passion, and that seems kind of cliche, but it's true, of just if you're focusing on a project as an entrepreneur or even just as a hobby creatively, and you're not like 100% all in and see the vision long term, of course. And I've had tons of ideas that I've abandoned. We all do it. You have an idea and you're like, oh, I think this sounds great, and it just doesn't carry over. And Chomper Champs was something that I think saw it working so well in the speech room and how much the kids loved it. And that's what really motivated me of like, oh, there's something to this. Because from where I started to where I am today in the design of my product, like the growth I've had, it's just night and day. And sometimes I'm like blacked out in my memories of like, how did we get here? In a good way.
For sure. Show us one. How do you show us like what it looks like? Do they have different names?
Okay, so I have there's Lulu the cat.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
And then I have
This is the kitty.
This was my original one, is Skipper the dog. And
so cute.
So I originally had the idea when I was doing a lot of feeding therapy in a rural clinic. And so much about feeding therapy is just taking the pressure off the child of, you put any pressure on these feeding therapy kids. It's not about, oh, take a bite. You smell it. It's really about like engaging with the food. And we would pretend to feed Barbies or puppets. And I was like, we really need something that you can just like actually put the food in and have it drop down into his belly. So we originally started as a feeding therapy product. And then the kids, I had my prototype, which I should show it to you.
You have oh my gosh, for sure. I want to see that.
I have the original one. And it's like, I post it on Instagram sometimes and it's almost embarrassing. But that kind of back to what we were saying, you just have to have your idea and stick to it and like know that it's going to, which I'm sure you've seen with kidology, you just know it's going to improve over time. But regardless, so for Chomper Champs, I call him just a grab and go activity. He's on the shelf. We grab our mini objects, or now I create snacks in these little accessory packets, like his little Valentine's Day kit. He wears his sunglasses.
That is amazing.
And you feed him all of his treats as we're targeting goals. And with the kids, they'll feed him. He's on the table, and I say, okay, he's so hungry for the words that start with the k sound, and the kids will go and we'll find his treats and they feed him and we go, "Rah, rah, rah, rah. Oh my gosh, he bit you, are you okay?" And we go, "Bad dog." And it just turns into this like playful schema that connects with the kids. I think obviously there's something therapeutic about animals in general. Yeah, and it's just kind of like turned into this thing that I would have in my speech room. I'd have all these fun games out ready for the session, and Chomper Champs would be in my desk or something, and kids would come in and they'd say, "Can we play with the puppy today?" And it just reaffirmed for me, like, okay, they
loved it, and it's something that they remember. Yeah, that's amazing. Parents, if the IEP process feels confusing or overwhelming, you no longer have to figure it out alone. The Confident IEP Parent ebook gives you practical tools and guidance to help you advocate for your child with clarity and confidence. Visit theconfidentiepparent.com to get your copy today. Talk about not only a useful, memorable, but your goal in therapy as a therapist and provider is always to have that memory wheel going. So the minute they leave, they're probably speaking about what they did, what they used, and they're more likely to remember the tools you provided to them through the session, which they're going to then use in their day-to-day life. That's our goal. We want them to learn what we're doing and use it. And what a great way it's child friendly, it's fun, it has multiple uses with the swallowing and the functionality in the clinical, experience. So I'm just fascinated. Show the original.
Okay, I did pull it out because I was like, I might show Luba this. So this was, I didn't know anything about 3D printing. I didn't know anything about design, which I do almost all my own design now. I've come so far. And my husband... Did
you have one where you have to like program it? Because this wasn't a mold. You have to like types. I mean, I don't really understand. Again, my son's I want to say cookie cutter. It's not a cookie cutter. The 3D printer is like standardized where there's an app and you kind of like, if you wanted to do something that's not in the options, you can upload a photo or you can like tell it something, command. So I can't imagine what you had to do to program this original piece.
Yes, so I didn't have the skills to do, like, I was just like, I have no idea how to do that. I'm just a speech therapist.
Like, whatever, yeah.
And so my husband plays this kind of like, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons and like Magic the Gathering. Like he plays what I call like nerd games in the most endearing way. And at this game store, he knew a friend who did 3D printing, and this guy's name was Michael. I'll literally never forget him. I actually think he's a PA now, a physician's assistant. And I just like went to the game store and was like, "Hey, do you do 3D printing? Would you be able to help me?" And I gave him like a little sketch I had drawn on a piece of paper, and he charged me $10 an hour for the design work, which literally now my engineer, like, it's like over $100 an hour. It was crazy how much he helped me. And we got my first prototype, which he's very scary, but I did use him with the kids. And he was like, and this is where, Luba, I'm like, the delusion. Like, I remember pulling this out and a parent being like, what is that? But the kids loved it, and you could feed him, and the bottom came off, and I was like, okay, this is like.
Is the consistency of the two the same? Do they feel the same? I want to know.
No, this one is kind of squishy, which I actually don't even know what type of material this is anymore. I'd have to look it up. And for like more durability, mine is like my one is it's hard. But to go from something like this,
that is great. Listen, the idea was born and you did a great job, and it's evolved, and all you can do is evolve. So if there's an SLP listening right now and thinking, I have ideas, but I got no time, I got no confidence, I got no funds for this, what is the first step that you tell them to take?
I think that the first step I would tell other creators to take is to have some trust in yourself and get one step in the direction of having some sort of a prototype. You know, if their idea is a product, so whether that's a digital product or a physical product, like I showed you my first one, and I think that was kind of the stars aligning for me to find somebody who could do that. But obviously, if you don't have time for it in your life, that's okay too. I think you need to honor the different phases of your life that you're in. I had the idea for Chomper Champs years before I 3D printed my first one. I just was not in a place to make it happen at that time. But if you are in that place, I think you should do whatever you can to make the first version of it. And I mean, I'm on version 30 probably at this point, you know, and you have to have the recognition that your first one is not where you're going to end up, but you have to take measurable steps to get there. And I think that those first couple steps are why everybody has great ideas and people don't do anything with them.
And is your target audience SLPs, or is it all types of therapists? Tell us a little bit about who you're selling to. And obviously it was enough that you haven't had a client in 18 months. So is the business going as you expected it to?
Yeah. So my primary customer is a speech language pathologist. I call Chomper Champs a speech therapy companion tool.
Awesome.
Because he's just a companion and you can grab him and target any type of speech goal. But I have customers who are occupational therapists. I have a couple customers that are classroom, like teachers, and they use it as a classroom pet to motivate kids in the classroom. I'm pretty specific that I don't sell it to parents. Well, you can buy it on my website, but I'm not marketing to parents at all.
Sure.
Because I think that there's a lot of products out there that say, use this in the speech, use this and your kid's going to talk. No, we will have none of that around here. Like, this is just a tool for speech therapists to make their job easier, not something that's going to improve your child's speech directly. So my business is growing. I mean, it's not something that I'm 100% full-time at. I do consulting work.
Right, you said, yes.
But if I didn't feel like that was the direction I was going, I 100% would not be doing it at all. It would be more of a hobby than a business. In my first to my second year, I 7x'd my sales, which was wild.
Incredible. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh, girl.
So that was really exciting. And then this last year, I over doubled. So I'm going in a good direction, but product development is expensive and I'm not making a lot of money just because the overhead and doing new things, and you know how it goes as a business owner. So
absolutely. But you're so, it's like everything you've done so far, you've done with your own two hands, and it gets more complicated as you add on these manufacturing and all these things. So enjoy the space you're in presently, and may God grant you to go wherever you're supposed to, whether you're exploding with manufacturing or whatever. I think you have an incredible product, and I think it's definitely a useful tool. I would love to use this in therapy. Are the little accompanying food and things that you're using, are they also 3D printed?
So some of them are. I love to source mini objects from Speechtree. She does the mini object descriptions. So sometimes I'll include hers, but most of them I 3D print. Like, I actually have it. Oh, nope. So this is from the Valentine's Day kit.
I am so curious about what's in your subscription box. This is so cool. So you're doing monthly themes, and they're going to get like a cool box in the mail to the SLP.
Yes, it goes to all my customers are SLPs with, like I said, I have a couple OTs who signed up for the subscription, and it's quarterly because you don't need this monthly, in my opinion. My subscription. Yeah.
And also from a therapy's perspective, the consistency works great for 3 months at a time. So yes, agree.
Totally. So I 3D print a lot of the snacks now that go into the kit. Sometimes I source them from, like I said, Speechtree. But by and large, I'm designing all of them. I draw the image on my iPad, and then I convert it into a 3D file. And then I send it to my 3D printer, and I'm a one-woman show over here.
Amazing. No, I mean, that's so cool, though. That's really innovative, and I just love what you're doing. Wow. What is your favorite therapy age?
Oh, 3 to 5 year olds. I love them.
Young school age, we call that.
Yes. Yeah.
IEP level.
Yes. Preschool. And I've always been an outpatient. So I love the one-on-one, 30 minutes, come in, let's play, let's have fun, let's get those goals met.
Awesome. What is one word kids use to describe you?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. I would probably say silly.
Okay.
Yes.
Coffee or matcha?
Oh, coffee all day.
Matcha is so popular now, but I love coffee too.
No, I'm a coffee drinker.
One thing that every therapy room needs.
Well, I would say a Chomper Champ, but really at the core is I would say a great attitude of just like starting our days, mindset, mind over matter. It matters so much. And it doesn't matter what's in my therapy room. If I go in thinking it's going to be a bad day, it's going to be a bad day.
Right. If kids remember how therapy felt, then their joy is part of the outcome already. And like I said, that's what stays with them, and that's what they remember, and then utilize the skills they learn at that time. So it's totally cool. How does your product design actually play a role in preventing clinician burnout?
I think that one of the biggest parts of clinician burnout for SLPs is overextending ourselves. Why am I trying to recreate the wheel? Why am I taking materials home to create this, special worksheet? Or I remember in grad school creating, let's make this, what was he was like a straw man to put on the wall, and we would pin things onto him. Really, in the day-to-day of being a clinician, it's still a job. And if I'm bringing that home with me, or I'm stealing from one area during my workday to fill the other one of having these resources, when the reality is the kids, they just want to play. They don't care if you spent an hour developing, this resource just for them. I think that there's a lot of validity to that too, though. I don't want to discourage you from doing it if it really does fill your cup and it doesn't burn you out. But I think that for me personally, in a busy clinic where it's 30 minutes back-to-back sessions, I need to go into my materials room, be able to pull almost anything off the shelf, and know that I can use it to target almost any therapy goal, which is what influenced Chomper Champs. Of we can target anything while we feed him and we dress him up, and I don't have to do any planning. We just have it in front of us. The kids think they're having fun playing, and we're getting a lot of work done.
It's a really easy on the fly, low to no prep. And I can see that we're creative beings. You grab it and you're targeting all the goals. And I think it's really awesome how functional it actually can be. You told me a little bit about your growth from start to now, but what excites you about what's coming next for Chomper Champs?
Yeah, I think that part of the fun of being an entrepreneur sometimes is like business can look different for different business owners. And I think some of the fun is who knows what my brain is going to materialize next. I mean, like I said, when I started, I had no idea about like the accessory kits. But something specific I've been really excited for this last year is I released my first set of flashcards.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, they sold way better than I thought they would. And I call them Oh, I don't have any in front of me, but I
They're
call
not
them.
3D printed, are they?
No, they're printed. They're flashcards. No.
Okay.
But they're fun size phonemes and they're miniature articulation cards sized to feed to Chomper Champs. And so
that's see, you made it compatible. That's very cool. Super unique.
Yeah, I would show you to them, but honestly, they sold out. I'm waiting for my next shipment. And I think that going into like some flashcard products was really exciting. And my next plan is to release a consonant blends extension pack for the fun size phonemes. And I'm really excited. I mean, for this subscription that I just released, the quarterly subscription, where I announced the theme the month before it ships. And I have some really fun themes coming up to dress Chomper Champs up. I know the kids are going to love it. And again, with the goal that the SLP can grab it off the shelf. And all of my products also come with digital download links as well. So you have the digital materials if you need some of the print support and worksheets, and it all matches the activities with Chomper. And I'm just excited for the creativity that's to come. It fills my cup so much.
You are the love. You got the love.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and the point is the fact that you're dreaming. Listen, clinicians are clinicians, but clinicians are allowed to build businesses too, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day. Hi, hello. We're just two of many. So that's pretty freaking awesome. Yes. Well, Stephanie, you're a doll. It's been so fun chatting with you. Tell everybody where they could reach you, where they could buy your awesome product, and how to get in touch.
Yes, thanks so much, Luba. You can order Chomper Champs from chomperchamps.com. You can sign up for the subscription there and see all of my products that are in stock in the shop. And I love to post on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I need to figure out TikTok. It's just like not my thing. I think I'm too much of a millennial for it.
I can totally see a Chomper Champs TikTok, but you need to make the page associated to each character. The cat has a page and the dog has a page.
That's a great idea. See, I just like TikTok, I get on there and I'm like, yikes. It's a lot for me.
It's so easy. And TikTokers, like, they want the feed all day. So it's not as strategic as like a reel and the Instagram, formula. It's a little bit different.
Yes, and that's what I need to do is just like mentally separate the two of what TikTok is and what Instagram is. But you can find me on both of them. Instagram is where I'm most active, and it's at Chomper Champs Speech Therapy on Instagram.
You heard it here first, folks. Now, Stephanie, you're awesome. Thank you again so much for joining us. Everybody, thanks for listening to this awesome episode of the Growth Lab podcast. Your likes, your follows, your reviews mean the world to us. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Thanks, Luba.
Thank you for spending time with us here at the Growth Lab podcast. I really hope this episode was helpful. And if it was, stick around for more episodes by subscribing to the podcast, wherever you're listening. And if you know a fellow parent that could use this episode, share it with them. Follow me on Instagram at Luba Patlakh. That's LubaPatlakh for daily advice and resources to keep you informed between episodes. See you next time.